Well, let's go ahead and welcome in the quarterback right after the win. iBlack still on, Marcel Reed. Marcel, really appreciate you joining us. Congratulations on the win. What's the vibe been like in College Station so far this year with you guys off to such a great start?
I mean, the vibe's been amazing. You can't really ask for nothing better. We're 6-0 right now, and we're playing some really good football, both sides of the ball. So we're just really excited.
Yeah, Marcel, this game started off with some fireworks. I mean, 28 total points in the first quarter, and then things kind of started to slow down, and the defenses really started to step up. So for you guys on the sideline as an offense, how did you kind of work through that to pick things up and get points back on the board? And, what was that conversation like?
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of had to adjust there. They started to kind of figure out what we were trying to do, what our game plan was, and it just really took hard-nosed football at the end of the day. We talked about how it wasn't going to be pretty. I mean, it was a little bit ugly, but we're 6-0 now, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right, Marcel. Never apologize for just winning the football game. You scored 41 against Notre Dame. Mississippi State scored 31. You scored 34 tonight against Florida. But dare I say, have you guys hit your stride offensively yet? Is there more room for this offense to be even more explosive than what we've seen so far?
Yeah, there's way more room. I feel like a lot of people are just starting to see what we have on the offense. They're watching film a little bit more on us and coming up with different game plans. But we have a lot more weapons that we haven't even used yet. And, it's going to get scary once we get down the stretch.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing about the football season. You continue to get better throughout each and every single week. And early on game day, Nick Saban said, you are the most underrated quarterback. People don't really realize how good you are at what you do. You had a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown in consecutive games for the first time in your career. So what's it been like for you this season when you think about your improvement from last year to this year from a leadership perspective and your game on the field?
I think that it's just, me being with my teammates for a whole offseason, receivers for a whole offseason, and with Coach Klein for a whole offseason. We kind of developed the offense that we want. And, we just, got in the lab and started working all offseason. Once we get in the fall camp, we started to click. And, we got weapons on the outside. We got some running backs that people have to stop. And then we have a great O-line. So our whole entire offense is dynamic. And, somebody's going to have to take away something, but something else is going to be open all the time. So
That's right, man. And listen, your head coach. Hey, he's another guy that I think is just underrated and underappreciated in the college football scene. Talk to us about the other. Hey, I'm from New Jersey. Mike Elko's from Jersey. Tell me how crazy Mike Elko is in a positive way as your head coach there at Texas A&M.
Shoot, he's probably one of the best coaches I've ever had. That guy's honest. He'll tell you what it is, and he'll tell you what it isn't. He puts us in great position to go win every football game that we're in. We practice all types of things, whether it's situational football or just regular down and distance. But we get nitty gritty and everything, and he makes sure that everybody on the team prepares the right way to go out and execute.
Last one for you, Marcel, before we get you out of here. I know you got to celebrate there in College Station tonight. And obviously you improve by playing against this defense, which is one of the best in the country. I got a stat here. Texas A&M, first major conference program over the last 20 years to hold 3 consecutive opponents to no more than 1 third down conversion. Talk about your defense going up against them in practice and how that also makes you better.
Yeah, our defense is unbelievable. Going up against them in practice makes me 100% better. You got Cassius Howell on the edge, Deion Hayes on the edge. And then, you got T.O., interior. All those guys are long. They're quick. They're twitchy. You got great DBs, Dalton Brooks, Bryce Anderson, Des Ricks, Will Lee. And, our linebacker, Torian York, our captain, he runs that defense and makes sure they're in the right place at the right time every single play. And, that's what you want on that side of the ball. He's like the quarterback on that side of the ball, but he does a great job. And the defense is doing really well right now. It's crazy that stat about their third downs is that I feel like, when we go up in practice, we convert third downs all the time.
So you're saying if you got to go and get it, the Marcel Reed led offense is going to be able to get that first down.
Yeah.
Marcel, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. We're going to be rooting for you all season long, man. You're on a great season this year. Keep it going, man.
Yeah, I'll say this
Thank you
too,
so much.
Marcel, before we let you go. We root for stories in college football. We don't really root for teams or players, but you are an easy story to root for, and we really appreciate you taking the time right after your win. Congratulations, and best of luck down the stretch of the season. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.